Most money trauma has an origin story that starts long before any bank account existed, usually in childhood, in a household where money carried an emotional charge. It might have been overt, arguments through a closed door, a specific tone when a bill arrived, or it might have been quieter, a parent's face tightening at the till, a holiday that never quite happened, a phrase like, "we can't afford that," said often enough to become a kind of background hum. Children don't need to understand finances to absorb financial fear. They only need to feel the tension in the room, and they are remarkably good at feeling it. That tension gets stored, not as a fact about money, but as a felt sense. Money means conflict. Money means uncertainty. Money means something bad could happen. For some people, the origin isn't a slow accumulation of small tensions, but a single, sharp event, a redundancy, a home nearly lost, a parent's sudden change in mood the day the post arrived. Either way, the nervous system doesn't need many repetitions to learn a lesson this important. Sometimes one vivid experience is enough to write the template for decades. This is why financial trauma so often persists even after circumstances genuinely improve. The bank balance can change completely. The stored felt sense, formed years earlier, doesn't automatically update just because the facts did. A childhood shaped by financial scarcity or instability teaches the nervous system to stay alert around money, in the same way growing up somewhere genuinely unsafe teaches a nervous system to stay alert generally. This alertness doesn't switch off automatically once the external circumstances change. It has to be actively taught that the danger has passed, usually through repeated, lived evidence rather than a single realization. This is part of why financial anxiety can feel so disproportionate to a person's actual current situation. Someone can have a stable income, savings, and no real financial risk and still feel a jolt of dread at an unexpected expense, because the body isn't responding to this month's numbers. It's responding to an old, much larger threat that this small trigger has been linked to. Understanding this doesn't make the feeling disappear instantly, but it does change what the feeling means. It isn't proof that something is currently wrong, it's evidence of where you came from. One of the most common and frustrating experiences with money trauma is knowing, logically, that the fear doesn't match the facts and still not being able to think your way out of it. A healthy balance, a stable job, a clear repayment plan, none of it necessarily touches the feeling, because the feeling was never generated by logic in the first place. Threat responses are largely automatic and pre-verbal. They activate faster than conscious reasoning can intervene, which is why a rational explanation rarely calms a racing heart in the moment it's happening. Trying to argue yourself out of the fear can even backfire, adding frustration and self-criticism. Now feeling anxious about being anxious about money, on top of the original stress. This is precisely why the approach that helps isn't more financial education, useful as that can be. It's addressing the nervous system directly, the same way you would with any other learned fear response. If money trauma is a nervous system that learned money equals danger, the way out isn't a single insight. It's repeated, lived proof that this specific moment is actually survivable. Small, deliberate exposures matter far more than grand financial gestures. Opening the app for 60 seconds without trying to fix anything, saying a debt figure out loud to one trusted person, checking a balance on a day that isn't a crisis. Each of these is a small rep. Evidence the body can actually register, unlike a reassuring thought that gets dismissed the moment it's had. Over time, enough reps genuinely start to change the automatic response. The app becomes slightly less dreaded, the numbers slightly less loaded, the conversation slightly less frightening. If you have found this series helpful, please do subscribe to Healing Through Thoughts. And if this specific video resonated, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Tell me which part landed or what you're still working through with money. I read every single one. Financial safety is often imagined as a number, a specific salary, a specific savings figure, the moment debt reaches zero. In practice, it's better understood as a felt state, the ability to look at a balance without your chest tightening, to have a conversation about money without bracing for conflict, to spend on something enjoyable without an automatic wave of guilt following it. This doesn't mean money stops mattering, or that real financial problems don't need real practical solutions. Budgeting, seeking advice, addressing debt directly all still matter enormously. It means the nervous system stops treating every financial situation, large or small, as equally threatening, which frees up the capacity to actually think clearly and make good decisions rather than reacting from fear. It's also worth saying plainly, this shift can happen at any income level. Financial safety isn't reserved for people who earn a lot or have large savings. Plenty of high earners still carry deep money trauma, And plenty of people on modest incomes have built a genuinely calm relationship with what they have. The felt sense of safety and the actual number in the account are related, but they are not the same thing. That shift, practiced consistently and without shame for how long it takes, is where real, lasting change with money happens. This week, we've talked about why money can feel like danger even when nothing's actually wrong, the avoidance and doom spending and shame that pattern quietly produces, where it usually begins in childhood, and what genuinely helps rebuild a felt sense of safety around money. None of it means something is wrong with your character. It means your nervous system learned, early and understandably, that money wasn't safe, and learned patterns with patience and repetition can be relearned. Thank you so much for watching this series all the way through. It genuinely means a lot. If any of it resonated, please subscribe so you don't miss what's next, and drop a comment telling me what you're taking forward with you. Take good care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one. This is Healing Through Thoughts. See you soon.